Don't wanna be an actor pretending on a stage. Don't wanna be a writer, put my thoughts out on the page. Don't wanna be a painter, cause everyone comes to look. Don't wanna be anything, but my life's an open book. A dream, it's true. I'd see it through if I can be wasting my time with you.
And welcome to the Week 8 edition of the video newsletter. That's Week 8. I can't believe it. That means we have 6 more games to go. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's 6. 6 more games, guys. Crucial. It is crunch time here in the SAB. It is the playoff push. It is time to get those teams going. So, without further ado, I now present the Week 8 Commissioners Picks. And yes, our game of the week is the number 6 Underhill account versus the number 2 Waffles. Underhill comes in at 4-3-0. The Waffles at 6-1-0. It's hard to pass this game up when they're both the division leaders in their respective divisions. So let's get to this matchup here. I got to be honest here. This matchup looks very, very even on paper. 2 solid squads. Blender coming off his first loss after a 4-game winning streak. Pete is on fire at 6-1. The quarterbacks, you got to give the edge a little bit to Prescott, I think, over Roethlisberger. Prescott at Washington, Roethlisberger at Detroit. I think the choice D is actually pretty good, a little underrated. I do believe Prescott will win that one. The running backs look similar. Allen and Gordon, McCaffrey and Mixon, maybe a little edge to Tuna there at the running back position, but it's going to be close. Hopkins, Brown, and Garcon is very nice for Lender there. Very solid trio. The only question mark really is Garcon. He's had some good weeks, but I don't know how consistent he's going to be with the rookie quarterback in there now and the San Fran team that's not very good without a win. Then you got Thielen, Jeffrey, and Thomas on the other side for the Waffles. Very good, very good. Probably just a little under of that of Lender, but it should be close. Kelsey better than Brait. Obviously going to go with Kelsey there. Gano and Lutz, even. Panthers D and Patriots D, both solid starts this week. Both going to be probably about the same. So it's really... This one's really close. The site has Tuna favored by 1.5 points this week. I do think it's going to be close, but I don't think it's going to be favoring Tuna. I do think it's going to go the other way. I think that the Waffles are the favorite in this game. I like the Waffles by 3.5 points in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if Tuna pulled this one out. I do think it's going to be close either way. But again, I do like... the Waffles by 3.5. Next! Now, if there was going to be a game of the week 1A, this one would definitely be it. You got the number 4 North Dallas 40 at 3-4-0 versus the number 3 Tough Nuts USA at 5-2-0. The 40 have definitely been the highest, probably playing the best football over the last 2 weeks. They've been outstanding. With a high week last week, and a week before that they were 130. So they're playing really well coming into this game. Elliott and Bell are really lighting it up right now, so that's good news for them. Tough Nuts is currently second in their division behind T-Bone Steakhouse at 5-2-0, though. Tough Nuts has probably got to be really... I mean, they're in the top 3 for sure between them and the Waffles and the Steakhouse. Now, this game here... Besides the quarterbacks, it's relatively even. I do think Tough Nuts has the better squad. Both of these teams were probably the biggest question marks at quarterback in the league coming into this week. But Tough Nuts, after making their 13th trade of the season, acquired Drew Brees and have really solidified that quarterback spot now. They were jumping around week to week with different quarterbacks. But now they've really solidified it with Drew Brees, making them very threatening with the rest of that squad after they picked up Julio Jones and Baldwin and whoever else they picked up. I can't even keep track of all their trades that they've made, but they've done a good job and they've built a solid squad. And like I said, you got Drew Brees and you got Case Keenum right now for the 40. It's obviously going to go to Brees, and I think that's probably the whole difference in this game right there. Running backs are sick in this matchup. You got Elliott, Ingram, Bell for the 40. Then you got McCoy and Hunt for Tough Nuts. This is top 5 of the top 7 running backs in all fantasy football right now. I don't even know. This is very loaded backfield in this game here. So both these teams are dangerous just because of the backfields. Now the receivers, this is another disadvantage for the 40 after another trade. Last week, Tough Nuts acquired Julio Jones, got him on the cheap. There's no doubt about that, and he was amazing, of course, in his first game for the Tough Nuts squad, breaking 20, along with Baldwin and Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is banged up. Maybe he's not playing. I don't know. But either way, you can see Blunt maybe going in there for Diggs. So the swingman is the question mark for Tough Nuts. But even so, it's going to be fine. Littell and Benjamin is going to be tough to keep up. So it's going to be a tough day there. Gronkowski and Ertz. Ertz has been really solid this year. Maybe the number 2 tight end in all of fantasy football this year. I'm not really sure. But he's been playing at least like a top 3 guy. And then Gronkowski on the other side will probably give him the edge. But it's not by much. Boswell and Falcons. Elliott and Chiefs. Let's just say that's a little even. If anything, maybe it's a little advantage to the Chiefs. So now the site actually has Tough Nuts favored by about 8.5, 9 points there. I do think it's going to be similar to that. I like Tough Nuts in this one. I like Tough Nuts by 10. So that's 10 points even in favor of Tough Nuts. Next! In our third game of the week, we see the number 11 Thunder squad at 2-5-0 versus the number 8 People's Champ at 3-4-0. Looking at both these teams right now, their lineups look like they are definitely subject to change. We still have a bye week guy in there for Sasso. I'm sure he's working the phones trying to get a trade in for a second running back. But right now, it looks like he's going with the backup on the Chargers. Eckler, is that how you say it? I don't even know. But that's who right now it looks like is going to be in there. Thunder's lineup as well looks like it's subject to change. There's guys on his bench that are probably going to get in there and guys on the starting lineup that are going to be on his bench. So it's kind of hard to look at the matchups right now. Just based on how both these teams are playing, neither of them are playing particularly well right now. This could be a game, first to 100 should win. I think Sass is really going to struggle to find some points this week. Thunder might as well, maybe as well too, but I think the Thunder will get more than the People's Champ. I do believe the Thunder are destined for this win here, this game. I believe they will get their 3rd victory this season. I see People's Champ continuing to sink as they watch their season go down the tubes. It's going to be tough for them. They don't really have, a solid squad. They have Brady, and that's pretty much it. They have nice names and receivers, but nothing really that it's exploding with any consistency. So it's been a tough year for Sass, an unfamiliar year for him. But again, I do think the Thunder will take this one. I'm not going to even look at the site because, like I said, the lineups are subject to change. So I did it based on what I thought would happen. And I do believe that the Thunder will win this one by 6.5. So that's 6.5 in favor of the Thunder. Next! And in our 4th game of the week, we see the number 12 Crack Liberty Bells at 2-5-0 versus the number 7 Jopatown Jaguars at 3-4-0. Jopatown coming off their best week of the year last week with 120 points. So maybe this week they get 70. We'll see. The Bells have been playing horrible football. The last 2 weeks they put up top 5 low scores of the year, both under 75 points. So Bells are really struggling right now, and their lineup right now is illegal. They don't have a tight end in there right now, but I'm assuming they'll pick someone up because all they have is Walker, who's on the bye this week. Not really sure what Shaw's doing this year. Hasn't been making waiver claims. He still has Hoyer on his bench as a 3rd quarterback. We all know he got benched, and I'm not really sure why he's still on that team. I'm not really sure what Shaw's doing this year. It's one thing to be bad and not pay attention, but to not make moves and to try to put a solid team out there is another thing. I don't know. Maybe we need to get Chad to run this team, this one Philly team. So, like I said, the Jaguars are coming off a really solid week. I expect them to continue the scoring. They do have some buys with Murray out this week. But they did pick up Washington, Lynch's replacement for the Raiders. So hopefully this 1 week start will do well for him and get him some points. So maybe that'll be nice. On paper, I got to go with the Jaguars here. I can't imagine, you can't favor the Bells against anyone, really. I know that this is the kiss of death, but, it is what it is. I can't not favor Jopatown over the Bells. The Bells just look mediocre at best, and that's being nice. So let's see if Shaw can make some moves here on free agency to get this team going. They're going to need a tight end. So we'll see what happens. But right now, I'm going to go with Jopatown as I'm going to go with the 11-point favorite there. So Jopatown by 11. Next! And in this fifth matchup of the week, we have the number 10 Ballstein Models at 2-5-0 versus the number 5 A-Train Wreckers at 4-3-0. The Models are coming off their second victory of the season after defeating the Bells last week. A lot of us weren't sure if they'd even get that second victory, but then we had to remember that they were playing the Bells. So obviously they were going to get it. And they're actually going to play them again, so they might get 3. But we'll see. The Wreckers are coming off a really heartbreaking loss to the Steakhouse last week in a really close, high-scoring game. Wreckers lost it there on Monday night thanks to Carson Wentz for the Steakhouse. But the Wreckers are playing good ball this year, and at 4-3-0 right now, they're sitting in a playoff spot in that number 5 spot. So another win here will do them really well. Now, looking at these two teams, I don't really see that big of a separation this week with the matchups and what they look like. I do like the Wrecker running backs better than the what I like to call the religious trio of Cohen, Coleman, and Abdullah for the Models there. Kamara, Hyde, and Martin should be do a little better than those 3. It won't be huge, but it'll be enough. Dalton and Taylor going at it at quarterback. Yeah, not really there for draw the eyes to the screen there between those two, but they should be about even. Now, I think the receivers is where the Wreckers are going to get them with Mike Evans and Des Bryant, who are both having pretty decent years, going against Funchess and Tyreek Hill, newly acquired Tyreek Hill. I think that's definitely going to favor the Wreckers and probably will be the main difference in this game. The tight ends, Witten versus Safarian Jenkins, probably about even. The Wreckers' best player is on the bye week this week. Greg Zuerlein and his big foot over there for the Wreckers is on the bye. So watch out. Maybe that'll play a factor into this game. But Forbuth was really good last week, so a good pickup for Olinsky. Maybe if he does half of what he did last week, it'll be really good. Steelers D versus Vikings D. You got to give favor the Vikings in this one at Cleveland. Anyone going against Cleveland is going to get a good defensive points. Pittsburgh is in Detroit. That might be tough. So if anything, I think that the Models might actually make up some points. In the defensive matchup. Now, the site actually has Olinsky, the Wreckers, favored by just under 4 points. I do believe the Wreckers will win. I think it'll be a little more. I think that the Wreckers will win this one by 8.5. So look for the 8.5-point victory for ATW. Next! And in our last, but certainly not least, matchup of this Week 8 here in the SAB, we have the number 9 Portland Funk at 2-5-0 versus the number 1 T-Bone Steakhouse at 6-1-0. T-Bone on a 5-game winning streak after starting the season at 1-1 have been really impressive, to say the least. This goes back, I'm having flashbacks to like 1997. Who's got on his team? Cordell Stewart? Barry Sanders? What is this? But he doesn't. He's got a very solid team. He's got Carson Wentz, who is a possible MVP candidate this year, highly possible candidate for MVP. He's definitely in the top 3. There's no doubt about that. And last week he was sensational. But if there's ever a week to play the Steakhouse, it's definitely this week because he's got Fournette and the newly acquired Aaron Jones on the bench, 2 high-scoring players. So if the Funk are going to get him, this is definitely the week. Because right now their backfield is Mack and Miller. Miller's been solid. But Mack and Miller, compared to what could be Fournette, Jones, and Miller, I'll take that any day of the week. So we'll see what happens here. But the Funk don't actually have like that team you say, okay, this is the team that's going to beat them, because I don't think they do. They did pick up Rivers this week. They did pick up Fuller from Tough Nuts. But Fuller, it's going to be tough to see him. He hasn't really done it besides touchdowns. He's got a lot of touchdowns, but that's really all he's got. So if he doesn't get the touchdowns, he's probably not going to score. So we'll see. how that goes. At Seattle might be tough for him. But Rivers versus Wentz, I'm going to go with Wentz every time. I mean, this guy looks great. Mack and Miller versus Richard and White and the old man Gore. I mean, you're going to give it a little bit to the Funk there because they have 3, but depending on what Miller does, it might just even out anyway. I don't know. Then, like I said, you got Fuller and Landry versus Cook, Skin, and Sanu. That should go to the Steakhouse there. Then at tight end, you got Jimmy Graham, who you'd like to see do a little better. He's had a week here, a week there, but nothing great. Especially, he hasn't been anything like he was last year. He's been dropping balls. Not been great. Lara Croft there for the Steakhouse. We'll see how that goes. Kickers, probably even. Eagles D versus Saints D, another even matchup, both playing relatively weak teams, although Chicago has been playing a lot better lately. So we'll see. If anything, maybe that favors the Steakhouse. Now, I do like the Steakhouse. I'm obviously going to favor the number 1 Steakhouse. But like I said, if there's a week to pick them off, this is it, because they're vulnerable this week. I just don't know if the Funk have the lineup to do it. Any other team above the Funk, Models, Bells, probably even my team, I'd say, Peoples, would have a really solid chance of picking them off. But it might be tough for the Funk to do it. The site actually has Todd favored just under 10 points. You know, I actually think it's going to be something like that. I do think they're vulnerable, but they are the number 1 squad at 6-1. I do believe they're going to win, and I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to go with my gut here, and I'm going to say T-Bone by 15 points. I know they're vulnerable, and I'm going 15. So look for the Steakhouse to win this one by 15. So that will conclude the Week 8 commissions picks. I hope you guys all enjoyed that. And in case you were wondering, yes, that is me playing guitar and singing. I figured out some new stuff doing here, so I was just having some fun playing around. Don't expect that to happen too often. But I hope you enjoy your Week 8 games. Thursday night game tonight, Miami at Baltimore. But it's a game, so enjoy. If you need my help, get in touch. If you need to make waiver claims, do it. If you need to pick people up, do it. Shaw, that's you. Everyone else, enjoy, and good luck.
I'm gonna catch the last ferry across Lake Champlain. I'm never gonna play my guitar again. You know that I've tried, but the dream has surely died. Though I did not get where I wanted to go, I did enjoy the ride. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I did enjoy the ride. I did enjoy the ride.